and welcome to D6 Damage. We have just finished our first session of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Alright guys, what did we think?
Well, to be more specific, sir, our first session of Doomsday Dawn in Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
The playtest.
We'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum here.
Yes.
I don't think we'll need to say anything, actually, though.
We'll just say that, as is typical with D&D, shenanigans were had.
Many shenanigans.
I, as DM, had a very interesting and fun time DMing the party through the depths of the first stage in the campaign. Not to say anything particularly interesting about it, but there are quite a few little nuances that you will enjoy as a DM. I'll leave it at that.
Alright, D8, what do you think?
I was playing a paladin, and I will say that I enjoyed myself a lot more than I expected to after looking through the book a little bit. I expected to feel like a wet noodle, and in some ways I did, but not nearly as much as I expected to, and so for that much I'm very happy to say. I still feel like that at level 1 my character can't even do the things he's good at. I feel like their skill system, I'm not confident in it, is because I feel like the DCs didn't lower to meet the lowering of your skills.
I can say, from the DM standpoint, most of the DCs were relatively low. You guys were just rolling right on the cusp.
But this was a level 1 part.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, the battle medic, the battlefield medic feat requires you to roll a DC 20 heal check. And
that's going to be difficult.
It's a level 1 feat. You can grab it at first level. But my heal, and I'm trained in it, is a 0. I'm sorry, it's a 1. So that's... I felt like I wasn't even good at the things I was supposed to be good at. I'm also not thrilled with the Paladin not having Smite. I feel like that was the big thing of the Paladin, and it's gone now. And that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I am confused because I don't really know what they're going for with the Paladin at this point. They're doing the Retribution Strike instead, and that's really nice, and I used it to great effect.
Oh, boy,
so I really liked the Retribution Strike, but it doesn't replace Smite, so I'm kind of confused.
I wonder if they're trying to make the Paladin more of a crowd control tank rather than just a tank.
That does appear to kind of be what they're doing, because the whole thing with the Retributive Strike is to weaken people. And you have some of your litanies and stuff that you get later on can, on a critical failure on their save, it weakens them. And so, like, that appears to be the way they're going. But even then, you don't weaken them more than 1. And that 1 point doesn't make a huge difference. The Lay on Hands is good at low levels now, but doesn't really scale.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those ones
and
that taper
that sucks.
really fast.
But it gives whoever you give it to a +1 to AC for a round, which it can be really helpful. I mean, my 18 AC was doing really good work.
I don't know, my 17 AC kind of felt like jackass shit, so when I went down.
Well, you weren't really fighting.
Yeah, that was probably... Actually, that was the first swing on me.
Yes, it was the very first and only hit you received that combat.
Okay.
And it happened to be the boss.
And granted, I'm playing as a rogue,
so
and I'm trying not to be.
So I'd say I'm
cannon.
Much happier with it than I expected to be. And part of that, I think, is we had a fun character dynamic going on with the whole group.
That part is just going to be...
But the lack of healing, like, I used all of my healing in 1 fight.
Yeah, no.
That was
definitely toned down the healing.
Yeah, like,
and
did
the fact
the
that
module even allow you to give the party healing if they asked for it at the beginning?
In the beginning? You guys had an opportunity.
You guys had
money and opportunity. You just chose to go straight to the mission.
Well, I don't know how much they cost.
2 gold for a health potion?
Well, we could have bought like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
We would have used all of our remaining money, but...
And honestly, it would have been not detrimental. Actually, based on what you guys just pulled, I think it would have been worth the investment early.
Yeah.
I will say that I had a lot of fun, and I'm not thrilled with the Paladin's scaling, but I'm willing to see where it goes, and it'll be interesting seeing how how well it'll do at later levels with more spell points and more abilities to cast Lay on Hands.
Yeah.
I don't really see myself using their litanies, their spells, because I only saw 3 in the book, but I wasn't looking very closely because I'm not that high a level yet, and it just didn't seem like they were super great. I think the use of Lay on Hands is more important.
All right, D10, you were the rogue of the party. How did you enjoy your 2E experience?
Well, to be perfectly fair to the audience, I've never played a rogue before, so my experience might not be worth a damn. But
Well, you got
honestly,
the
it
first-timer
kind of
experience
felt like
and
the
then a new
same
adventure.
experience as I would have had in the first edition of Pathfinder. I mean, I did decent damage with my sneak attack. I pulled off some lockpicking, and unfortunately, I couldn't get over that frickin' wall.
But that's your normal personal problem. You with climb.
Yeah, that's true. You know, every character you've had.
All right, so
I've had good climb characters. We just didn't need climb in those.
I'm just saying, this might be something for you to think about. Ranger, favorite enemy wall.
It might, something might happen there.
All right, but
Cliff count as a wall?
But yeah, it's just like
Kind of like a natural wall.
this felt like. To me, I felt like I wasn't playing an edition. It just felt like I was playing a slightly different version of Pathfinder, which I guess is a very good thing.
Yeah.
I suppose I would say the one thing I noticed that was different is that you actually appeared to be good at doing things.
Oh, fuck you.
No, I mean not like not like you as a player. I mean like your character compared to the rest of ours. I felt like your character was actually good at doing the skills.
The
stuff.
skills
Yeah.
thing. The rogue, literally, you had
Sorry
almost
for misunderstanding.
you almost had an answer
You
for
usually
everything.
usually go for those
The jabs instead of the.
Well, no, I felt like I honestly felt like with my zeros and -1s and -2s and everything that I was not capable of doing anything. And you did not have that problem, it looked like, with your set.
You literally the
And I
rogue
think that's
skill
the-
monkey aspect of rogue.
I think they really went heavy into that.
They did a good job. I mean, you got literally half of the skills available.
More than half now.
Oh yeah, technically more than half because you got a couple freebies. Just by going rogue.
Based on pay into intelligence.
Yeah.
okay, so
Rogue is sounding more like the utility class instead of like pure DPS or pure sneak attack.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, because
because
my sneak attack's not really good at skill
Yeah, it
roll
doesn't
against
scale-
your
it can't-
guys' damage because what? I get another D6 at what? 5th level?
No, as far as I can tell, my damage doesn't scale at all.
Yeah, no, most of the damages are going to only scale by level.
I'm
but,
not thrilled about that. It doesn't look like being higher levels really makes you feel any more powerful.
What it does, all I'm noticing from what I've been reading, just because I had to get deeper in, is that a lot of the things are the powers, bonuses, and abilities that augment other powers and abilities start to climb. And you start to be able to do some crazy stuff.
okay, so it's more about using our feats that we're going to get to up our powers, and that's how you get more power in this game.
And the natural stuff that you're going to grab just from as you progress through the thing, the levels, rather.
All right, so D10, you had a couple encounters with locks. How did you enjoy how they changed that aspect of being a rogue?
Honestly, considering I've dabbled in lockpicking with other Pathfinder classes, i.e. the Investigator, I honestly thought that was a bit more engaging than just doing one singular handle device check. But at the same time, I can see why people don't like rolling multiple times just to get through a door.
Yeah.
So let's explain exactly what happened there.
Yeah.
The lock system, the two locks that we ran into were both triple tumbler locks. So they had to succeed on 3 checks to get the thing unlocked.
And if you rolled low enough, you had to start all over again.
Yeah, well, if you rolled low enough,
Morrowind?
it reset the one
that's
before.
Oblivion.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oblivion.
Oblivion
Morrowind was just a straight
and Elder Scrolls
percentile.
Online.
Yeah, but in them doing that, it made it infinitely more amusing to be the guy who's picking the locks.
And I think you made a point while we were in game that it seems like it was done to stop people from being able to do it in that 6 seconds of combat. And I agree. And theoretically, you still can because you still have 3 actions.
Yeah, so you
could theoretically do it in 6 seconds.
But
so
you have
I
to
think
get damn lucky.
In that regard, I think they did really well.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool thing. I don't think it stops the game enough to make it a problem.
I just realized when you said that they literally turned it into a quote-unquote full round action.
Yeah.
Because you can literally, if you're already at the lock, spend your entire turn
But it's not a guarantee.
Trying to open it.
But you can make progress, and
Yeah.
so I think that's why they did it that way.
And I like that.
Honestly, my only complaint about it is that it slows the game down a tiny bit.
Yeah, it does slow the game down, but then again, so does a couple of small changes that they did.
Rules lawyer,
Yeah.
rules lawyery, rolling for spells.
Well, just being a new system, looking up your spells and
Yeah,
rolling your spells is going to be
Yeah.
take you a little longer. So.
All right, so D4, play of the game. I have to say, play of the game.
This is going to. This is almost rivaling the last time. The last kind of he was just like, "What's your favorite fail story to tell?"
Okay, so anyway, you were the monk. How did you enjoy your monking experience?
I mean, aside from the TKO.
Because I was gonna say you were kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, man, you were doing that damage.
You and I were up there killing stuff.
It's hard to believe that this is actually my first time actually exploring monk as a class, because I normally go for like the more martial fighter, all the other classes. Monk is one of those ones. It's like I kind of lumped it into like similar like arcane spellcasters where I didn't really touch it because I thought this seems like a little complicated, maybe a bit more micromanagement. But then I actually looked at it in this one. I'm like, they kind of simplified it, or maybe it was just like something I was just stuck in a loop for a while, and I decided I'm going to try something different. Let me try something I've never done before. Monk. Okay, that's still kind of martial.
Well, the key-based monk in Pathfinder certainly was kind of complicated.
I think that the monk looks very easy to get into, and then it works you
hard
up
to
into,
master.
No, I think it works you up into the complicated parts of it to the point where you can handle it.
Yeah, in the 2E, they start you off like your character building is. It seems like it's going to be really difficult, and then you all of a sudden you just sit there and you're like, wait, okay, I picked this, I picked that, okay, that determines this.
I will say that for character building, I didn't like the character building. I also feel like with the monk, I think the monk and the paladin have the opposite problem. I think the monk engages you as it levels up so you can do more cool things. Mm-hmm. And from what I've seen about the paladin, and again, this is just from one session at level 1, it doesn't seem like you really go anywhere with the paladin. It's just little things that change. Maybe that'll change when you get the divine bonds.
I think when you hit the 3rd level, I think is going to be the huge, like you guys are going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, so I look forward to seeing if that is the way it'll go. But I think from what I looked at the monk, I'm really impressed with how well they did it.
Yeah. I think I enjoyed watching just because of the fact that you were doing, I mean, your character was able to efficiently do exactly what you wanted it to do.
I felt the flurry of blows worked exactly like it should have.
Exactly. That's
got
something I liked about it.
And you just went
just
back.
pure DPS.
And it was just those moments of just straight up surprising amounts of damage just drop right then and there.
It's just like, you did how much?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
It was like, you actually, you did in one round the 2nd highest damage for the fight. The 1st highest damage goes to our paladin. Paladin's crit was just off the charts. And then
of
the
course
wolf
there
crit
was that moment in the game.
but we can't tell you anything about that moment.
Spoilers.
So it's a spoiler.
surprise, I did right up. I think the highest I did was maybe 10 at that.
But
Yeah, you did. You
Well, you were using ranged weapons.
You primarily stayed out of the thick of it, and because of that, you weren't able to put yourself to full.
Well, it seemed more useful for me to stay back than try to engage.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I think you did fine work.
Yeah, and your only real problem was the one creature you thought you were going to be able to get it was immune to your style of damage.
The one creature I did actually roll a 20 on was an ooze.
Yeah, so you were immune to him, or he was immune to you for the most part. And
yeah, it's just like.
Wee.
D12, you had an interesting experience as both DM and having your character kind of in there to help us out. So give us your player and game master perspective.
From the GM's perspective, the system, Hey, I have a new message standing by. All right, so from the DM's aspect, the game itself has a couple of things that are like you're noticing the changes early. But for running a module in particular on this one, it gives you a lot of small things that you're like, okay, that's changed here, that's changed there. It's not complications, more like minor oddities that if you're coming from one first edition, you're going to be like, wait, that changed. Like the lack of flat-footed and the fact that flat-footed is technically still in the game means that you have to sit there and go, okay, what does flat-footed actually mean now?
-2 to AC, apparently.
Yeah, and it's a -2 to AC, but rogues thrive on it. Like, the only way they're getting sneak attack in melee is when the opponent is flat-footed. They can't get it otherwise.
Which I think the only way to get your opponent flat-footed is either by tripping them or flanking with another.
No, flanking doesn't give it to you. Flanking, you get the flanking bonus.
No, flanking is when
but the flanking bonus is basically the flat-footed bonus.
It's a little complicated. We're going to figure it out more as we delve into it.
Yeah.
The longer we go. I mean, the bonus is the same, but they labeled it differently because apparently they wanted to cut down a sneak
Well,
attack.
I will say this. Now I'm more committed to trying the multi-class feats because it seems like Rogue is a really good scale well in combat.
I have a feeling that there's going to be little things that are just going to make that class pop, but you have to look for them.
Yeah, I will.
The Druid, which was the class that I ended up jumping into, oh my god. The class itself is kind of... It feels really similar to your generic Druid, and then you slowly kind of notice like the little things, like for instance, using your magic power to transform if you choose the bloodline, the animal bloodline, which basically lets you, of your 3 choices, you can either be caster Druid, shapeshifting Druid, or
Druid?
Petmancer Druid, basically.
Petmancer?
You can have a...
You have lots of pets, and they do
pet,
lots
a
of
pet, or you either have one pet that's uber powerful or a lot of small pets that do a lot of things.
Oh, that.
And that's kind of how they set it up.
So kind of an Overlord playstyle.
Yeah, exactly, Overlord playstyle. I chose to go with the Shapeshifter one because my favorite druids are always the ones that...
It looked a lot of fun.
It did.
Especially
when we kept tripping the boss.
I popped into wolf form, had my wolf companion that I paid for attached to my player, tripped the opponent, and then came about and started nomming his face because, well, he's now flat-footed. He's got all the basic problems that you don't want to have against.
Well, and you get the wolf pack tactics.
And then the wolf tactics, which gives you the free sneak attack die, because that's exactly what it is. As wolf pack tactics are basically a sneak attack die, a D6 sneak attack though.
Nice to know there were 2 other pseudo rogues at the party.
But only if they were working in tandem.
Why would they work in tandem?
In case there were too many enemies.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
And I also picked a Goblin because Goblin is the worst class to take as a Druid because they have the deficit in it and all that stuff. I was trying to make the character...
Race.
Huh?
You mean race, you said class.
True that. Good catch.
Well, technically it's a background now.
Right? So now it's...
Races...
Race, background, and class are different.
You're
Yeah.
talking
Okay,
Starfinder.
not background. What's their term for
Ancestry.
Ancestry, yeah. The ancestry of Goblin is... I actually enjoy it. It's got some stupid, funny little racial feeds. It's got...
I don't expect to see it in the core book, though.
If they don't, I will be sad and use this book and continue to bring my goblins because...
I wouldn't be surprised if it continues
Like,
to be a
I think
playable
it'll
race.
become a playable race in a shoot-off book, like, say, the new Advanced Race Guide.
I think it'll...
But I think it's
immediately be
really
one.
weird to have the Goblin as a core race.
Well, this...
It's not going to be, I don't think.
Doomsday's Door is designed to literally to make goblins the playable race. Like that. This
Yeah,
I
in
thought
I think
I
they're
thought it was called the
showcasing
End
it.
of Dawn.
yeah, they're
or something.
showcasing it as a playable race. They're literally
That's
dusting
why
it
I
up.
think it won't be core, but I think it will be showcased.
Yeah,
and
'cause
then
as
put
you-
out quickly.
As you're reading the thing, it literally is like, okay, if one of the players did choose a goblin, they are
This is all the
literally...
information they can have.
Yeah,
and
this
this
is-
is how they can join the group, and it really was built to allow goblins to work with the party.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
designed to basically be like, okay, here you go. As long as not the whole party is goblin, then you're good to go.
So I played as a wizard in this game, and I got to separate the class from my actual experience at the table. I can summarize my experience at the table. If you saw the movie A History of Violence, there's a sequence where Viggo Mortensen is supposed to be garroted and he gets out of it, and the mob boss just says to his minion, "How do you fuck that up?" And that was my experience. Okay, so I had what I thought was a pretty decent system where I could have a magic weapon and then true strike, and because of how they did actions, I can magic weapon, true strike, and shoot all in one round, and I thought, 2 rolls, that's going to give me enough of a chance to hit. And then get the 2 damage die. And what do you know, dice? My dice told me what I could do with myself. Not hit a damn thing. I'll say I am less worried about spellcasters now. I felt like that even at level 1, I had a decent amount of things I could do without completely blowing my load. The ability to drain your arcane focus to get one of your prepared spells to recast was
nice.
A good idea. I thought that giving you that extra, I think specializing in one of the schools to give you that additional prepared spell is also a good thing, and the powers and the cantrips mean that you're not ever going to feel like, well, I blew my 1 spell for the day, guys, and it did shack.
Yeah, like,
Especially since they scaled
I might be
zeros.
getting ahead of myself since we're still at playtest, but if they keep this kind of action economy, I'm really interested to see how well it'll work with the other Pathfinder classes if they decide to bring them out, like the Gunslinger, the Magus, and others.
Yeah, your personal faves.
Will be very, very interesting, and I'm very, very eager to continue seeing how Monk works in this new system, especially since I've never played Monk before. And it was really, really fun. I had more fun than I expected to have with this class.
I enjoyed our party combos. I really, really enjoyed the 1 retribution strike I got in. Because it was on a crit.
It was beautiful.
I critting on their crit to stop their crit by killing the dude who critted.
Yeah.
So it was like a crit chain. And
it was beautiful.
It felt like that's what they want the paladin to do.
It was
is
beautiful.
They want
I wish we should have. I wish we felt
Deny
it.
They
people
want him
hardcore.
to jump in and then stop the damage. And so I really feel like they want to do. And if that's the case, I'm really interested. I want to see where it goes. I would like to see a way to scale the retributive strikes enfeeblement, because otherwise I don't see how you can make that the main class feature.
If they don't, I think they should bring back Smite.
I agree. Because I feel without Smite you are missing something as the
You're
paladin.
essentially a knight or a cavalier or something.
However, I'm okay with that. I think all of our characters, I built the character specifically with the idea of you not being able to do a whole lot with spells or smites.
Like, I did my best to play a rogue that, to me, did come off as a typical rogue. You know, backstabbing, greedy, not really social to the party.
So I think the party composition made it made up for where the game lacked.
Yeah.
I think, and I think with good players, you can definitely pick out the holes in this playtest and fill it in with fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easily.
Even a novice party could, if as long as the DM is experienced, a novice party, I don't recommend Doomsday. That's going to be a bit tough, because that one starts you off with a fight that can literally kill everyone in the party right at the gate.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the fight he's talking about, but we nearly died.
Yeah, oh no, that's the last fight of the first part. But the first fight is, you open the door and you're like, oh,
Yeah, no, you're in the game. Like, hello, you're here. Let's play.
Oh, really, dudes? Yeah.
Yeah.
They pretty much just shove you into that pit.
Yeah, yeah. But they made it, I mean, it was the fight
worked.
It was a good fight. You know, you guys had to work together or someone was going to die. And you guys did it. And you guys pulled it off. It looked good. It felt good. Like, from DM aspect.
That's one thing I think. It really did feel good.
Yeah. The
I'm
game,
surprised at how smoothly it felt, even though... And again, I can only say I'm not playing someone who does skills, though. So while I felt like I couldn't do any skills, I don't feel like it got in the way of the game.
No, it didn't.
Because I didn't need to do skills. And I feel a little disappointed in that, because I like being able to do skills. But if the skill system isn't as necessary, if you only need one character in a party,
it's
like
not
a
as
bard,
integral as
I bet the
5e.
bard is going to be so much fun, because you'll just be like, I can do
Everything.
everything.
I see it now. You take a bard, you take a rogue. You give
And
the bard
you
has
have
one
all,
half,
yeah.
the rogue has the other
Yeah,
half.
so-
Anything
that's
you
the
can
case-
do, I can do better.
If that's the case, then I don't feel that the skill problem will be as big of a deal.
Especially seeing as how not putting yourself in the position of forcing yourself to be really good at skills and really good at combat and have health and do all the. Now they're sitting there going, okay, you pick this class, so you're going to be good at these two things, and you can try to get good at the others. Mm-hmm. Each class had that.
Paladin's good at one thing.
Yeah,
They
no,
kind of-
you're good at stopping damage. You were really good at just straight up just taking it.
Yeah,
Like
no,
most
they're
of the
good at
attacks.
taking it.
Most of the attacks against you straight up either missed or
Yeah,
bounced off your
it-
armor
because-
because you
yeah,
had the
Hopefully
ability
later
to have
you get
better
like
armor.
some sort of aggro ability.
I mean, in a way, they kind of make character building just easier.
They simplified character building for
Oh,
whether you like
That's
it or
one
not.
thing we do
though.
have to say.
Yeah, we should talk about character.
The character sheet sucks ass.
Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Great.
Nobody likes the
Great
character.
back
No one
the
likes it.
Bring back the
It is
vertical character sheet.
So bad.
It's unanimous that the character sheet did not go over well in this group, and it's primarily because you take people who on every other system they've played have had a vertical character sheet, you drop it horizontal, and then you add funny little things to it and go,
Circles. That's what circles. Bubbles.
Because we're taking the SATs now.
Yeah, like, it just, oh god. It just felt crammed and...
Like,
I
I,
mean,
thought there was a better way to show off that skills were signature, or
I mean,
or something was trained or expert.
in a way, I mean, I guess they're trying to make it more new user friendly.
I don't feel like it was, though.
I don't think
No,
it was.
it's very much more complicated than the old
Like if
character
the
sheets and
like
stuff.
if the basic idea was each thing can be each thing's a flow chart, and you can easily put A to B together and get the results. I don't think that was. I don't think that was.
No, that wasn't the result.
No,
What the result was a
It
big
feels like
mess
a
of
mess.
confusion.
It
Yeah.
feels like a mess.
It's a mess.
It feels like I don't know what I'm looking at or where I'm looking for.
Like I put my modifier here, and then I put
Yeah,
my proficiency here.
Yeah,
Do I put my
it's-
total here?
Well, I'll tell you, it feels like Pathfinder with all these different floating shit all over.
I mean, the
Bravo,
system
bravo.
it's no 5e,
Yeah.
it's
I
it's
feel
nobody
like-
else.
I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
the
and there are
character
still
sheet-
floating
I
modifiers.
feel like the character sheet's a mess.
The
They
character
are
sheet
definitely-
feels sloppy, but at the same time,
It
every
works.
time if I'm looking for
We
something,
eventually got it.
if I'm looking for something, like literally, I get to the page that I'm supposed to be looking for it at, and it's plain as day what I need to do to figure everything out. Getting to that point was hard, but once I figured it out, it literally glance. Okay, I know exactly what I need for insert.
Yeah.
Attack. I know exactly what I need for attack. I know what I need for my damage roll. I know what if I have a bonus.
I felt
what
It could
does.
be. It could be also. There was one thing that I noticed wasn't there that confused us at first, and it could be that we just missed it or
Yeah, we
whatever.
probably glanced past
But
it.
there was no spot for initiative,
Yeah.
and it could be they just decided to make it simpler and be like, it's just your dexterity modifier or something. But the fact there wasn't a spot confused us,
Yeah.
and that could just be because we're used to it. It could be that initiative order doesn't exist anymore, and now it's more like some of the other systems where you choose who goes.
Mm-hmm.
But if we missed it, then we missed it. And if they didn't, then I think even though it's a really simple, you know what your initiative modifier is, it might be nice just to have a little spot on the character sheet so you can just look real quick and see
Yeah.
it.
There is such thing.
And
There is such thing as quality of life.
we were also talking about this, things that we would add to the character sheet if we were in charge. And one of the things that I thought would be nice, because we had a character who had a status effect in the party.
Ooh, was a status effect bar, period.
Yeah. Well, they've
Status
never
effect
had...
indicators.
They've never
Like,
had that.
And
The
I
thing
didn't
that
see
made-
anything to put down. It's just like, okay, I'm dying
Like,
2. Where
Yeah.
do I put that?
The
Yeah,
thing
the
that
death
Or do I just-
bothered me
I guess I just keep it in my head.
about the first Pathfinder was there was never a spot for your energy resistances.
Oh yeah, you're right.
There was
You're
a place
right,
for
yeah.
DR,
Mhm.
but there wasn't for ER.
I always have to put.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they had like check boxes for status effects, damage
Yeah,
resistances,
and-
that
I
kind
will
of thing.
say that is much more a part of 2E because a lot of the spells give some kind of status effect.
It
like
did,
I mean,
and
you
an
the Ray of
amount.
Enfeeblement and all of those other
got the
things.
Even my
hindrance.
ability,
Yeah, the
my
hindrances.
my basic ability for the paladin,
Yeah.
enfeebles.
The
Yeah.
enfeebles, the hindrances, the poisons, and all the other things.
Bringing
they
back
really-
poison damage. Thank you, God. Green
Yeah.
dragons finally can actually do the proper damage.
No,
Yeah.
Just
no,
gonna
thank
throw
you
that
from
out
the
there.
rogue that was poisoned. Yes,
Yeah.
the rogue was
got
poisoned.
poisoned. Yeah. Oh, the rogue got poisoned by a trap.
I just wanted
To be fair, I did take the trap feat.
It's always bothered me that they took out poison damage.
Yeah.
Because it always seemed like a stupid thing to do, and I'm happy they brought it back.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that was a nice.
Sorry, it's a little non sequitur there, but
Well, that's just part of how they wanted to do poisons in Pathfinder, where it's like, it's not going to kill you, it's just going to debilitate you.
except it could kill you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in this, the way they did it now. Whew.
Literally, by the end of the session, I was nearly dead. Again.
It made things more complicated in Pathfinder 1 to have them be reducing your stats and stuff, because it just added a whole nother layer to things, where poison, just straight up poison damage.
Yeah, back where I had 1 health bar, I now have 7.
Yeah, just straight up poison damage I feel is smoother.
Yeah.
I feel it runs the game quicker, and I feel it finally makes Green Dragons be able to use Poison Breath, so I'm really happy about it.
Yeah.
Alright, so, based on what I saw in the comment section of of my first 2E video, there were some mixed opinions on half-orcs and half-elves being part of the human, being sub-races of humans, essentially.
Trust me, I'm kind of there with
Yes,
you guys.
I am very much with the comments on that. I
love
didn't
it.
really like it,
I mean, it's
I have
nice
mixed
that
feelings on
I
it.
got the bonuses,
but I didn't like
some
it
of the
in general.
bonuses of an elf, and later on I can take elven feats, but it still kind of feels weird that I have to sink a feat just to do that.
I think they make it worth it.
Not only do they make it worth it, but they're also making it so that way you have a choice. Do you want this power based on your heritage, or do you want that power because you used the feat slot for it?
And honestly, the other racial feats for humans weren't
Yeah.
anything special. I just took one that gave me another first level feat for my class.
Because
which is standard.
And it was nice. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's really good, but it's not anything special. I think being able to get 2 from a list in order to be a half elf or a half orc, and they're pretty good bonuses.
yeah, they're not shit.
Oh yeah.
I think it was worth it. I really like it.
If I remember correctly, and we can open up the book and check,
Go for it.
one of the half-orc perks, which is one of the reasons I took half-orc and
Was
made
it
a half-orc
low
perk,
light vision?
was not low light
Oh,
vision.
no, that
it
was
was the
your-
ability to stand up even after my health goes to 0.
You have to be like level 6 for that, and you've gone past it.
Did I go past it?
Yeah.
Hang on. See,
You went past it again.
It's
Oh,
in the
that's
human
right,
section.
because it's in human.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. But the half orc is the orc ferocity. What's
yes, orc ferocity. That's what it was.
That's not level 6.
it? Oh no, it is. I was looking at the orc site.
It's a
was
feat
the
1,
one.
yeah.
But-
That's one of the reasons I wanted to take it, but I have to wait until the next level to take it.
Well, you have to take it. You have to wait till like.
You have to
fifth
wait till
level.
you get a general feat to take
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Or
can you take general ancestry feats in general?
Yes.
I thought
Oh, then you
I
could have
thought
taken
that's
that
how
at first.
that's how you did it. Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, our general feat would.
the trigger is you're reduced to 0 hit points. Its frequency is
we
once
did
per
get
day.
general feat.
Fierceness
Yeah,
in battle
you did.
runs through your blood, and you
We got an
refuse to
ancestry
fall.
feat. And
Oh, I'm
class
sorry.
feat.
No, it's the human can take a general feat. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up taking that. You're
Yeah,
right.
but see, half orc in general, that one was one that they gave me.
Though I will say, half orc has what 5 different orc feats that you can do. Half elf 2. I'm kind
sensing
of
a
feel
little
some
bit-
favoritism.
I'm
My-
sensing a little bias there, yeah.
Well, I think because half elf isn't that different from elf, and I don't know. Anyway, I think my one complaint on that is that if they're going to do that for humans, I feel like they should expand it to the other races to give them more racial options.
Yeah,
So-
that'd be
Which
really
they
nice.
very well might.
Yeah.
So something
So,
like
would you-
high elves and wood elves
Yeah,
and
well,
dark
just
elves.
because I feel like
Would you-
with this kind of sub-race thing and this list of cool stuff they can get, I feel like the other races should have something similar.
Yeah, I mean, the other races by themselves straight up have a decent allotment of things that they can do. But when you
But
give
yeah, I
them the
think it would
ability
be cool
to
to
change
just like,
it.
I'll take this feat to have have these 2 traits to be considered a dark elf.
Yeah,
I mean-
or a Dwargar.
I would
Yeah,
say
yeah.
I would say easily expand it to the other races.
Which-
Because I mean, you could have a half dwarf, half orc.
No,
Which would
I wouldn't
be-
say
Well,
that.
no.
No,
I'm
no,
saying-
no.
no,
That's
that's
just
not
a
what we're
dork,
saying.
okay?
What we're
That's not
talking
what we're
about
saying.
is
We're
the
talking about
other
the
species
other
of
sub-races.
dwarf,
Like, say,
mountain
hill-
dwarf, hill dwarf.
I think
Dwargar.
it is what 5th edition
City
did.
dwarf.
Yeah,
And it's one of the things I really like about 5th edition.
yeah.
And I honestly, with this half elf, half orc thing, I expect to see it in Pathfinder 2 when the core comes out. I think as a playtest, they didn't want to bother with it, maybe.
Yeah, and
But
honestly,
if
they
they
give you a
don't-
lot of information
if
to go
they-
over just with the...
Yeah, if they don't expand it, I'll be disappointed, but it won't be the end of the world.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of room for potential
I mean-
wiggle room, and
Paizo has a good record of giving us a lot of new material with a lot of new races and new race options. So I fully expect to see an expansion on the race stuff.
oh yeah, no doubt.
So none of us have actually done it yet because we're level 1. But what are our thoughts on the multi-classing?
It looked
I think that would
interesting
be
to
a
me.
conversation for another video.
Yeah, probably.
It looks interesting to me. I'm actually going to try the multi-class feats. It seems like a nice way of saying I'm still a rogue, but I'm specializing more towards combat than just being a skill monkey.
I think it reminds me a lot of 4th edition of D&D. And because, and I'll just say because you could take feats to give you use of certain powers, like you could take Healing Word even if you weren't a cleric, and you could use it once a day. That system wasn't terrible,
No.
but it doesn't work for other systems. In this system, I think it works fine, mainly because the powers and stuff you get, and I haven't looked very close at this.
The only thing I wish they kind of expanded that a bit more, because my original idea was to multi-class into Ranger, but they didn't have. But since they don't have that, I'm doing Fighter instead.
Well, I think they'll add. I think again that was space in the
It's just like
playtest.
time. Yeah, time is a thing, and they did the core 3 that most people would want to multi-class into: Fighter, Rogue, Wizard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the 3 things that people tend to multi-class into when you look at just the standard
I
classes.
agree. So
and also Cleric.
I think I'm interested in seeing how it turns out. I think it's a good direction. I would like it if there was a way to actually like full on multi-class as well as just the feat stuff.
Yeah.
If the feat stuff is all there is, I'll be disappointed.
I think, well, we'll see.
Because
Because
what about
it
the
seems-
archetypes also be a feat tree?
No, I think that's exactly how they should do it. I think they should be, if you take it, you have a list of different feats to choose from, class feats to choose from.
Okay.
I think that's absolutely how they should do it.
Yeah, because it's not
I thought
that
there
they're-
weren't any archetypes in there to begin with,
Yeah.
so I'm really pleasantly surprised to find there was a couple.
But yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to need to talk about later when I actually experience it.
Yeah.
I think we also had some issues with the layout of the book, like things weren't where we wanted them to be or where we could find them easily.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Kinda felt like
it was
a
run by a
Fantasy
logic that nobody was in on.
Kind of felt like a Fantasy Flight game. But mainly I think that was because it's a playtest and they're trying to group so much stuff in.
I mean, realistically, if you knew what was in what tab, it wouldn't be hard. The problem is that
Knowing
because
what's
the,
in what
Yeah,
tab.
it's just like,
if you don't read the book thoroughly, or at least give yourself a skim through, going, okay, that's there, that's there, that's there, that's there, or
it's
go
just
through
like
the index.
treasure is such a broad spectrum.
Yeah,
I
and
felt like
in it-
half of those things could have gone into equipment.
Yeah, but they did it that way because most of those things aren't things that you can go to the store and buy.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, we're going to separate it by, you can go to the store and buy mundane equipment, but you're not going to the store to buy most of the magical stuff.
So you're saying I can't go to an alchemy shop and buy alchemist fire?
It's saying that at level 1 you're not likely to do it.
It's also saying that at level 1 you may not be able to afford to
Yeah.
go to the alchemy store and buy at the
Because
alchemy
they
shop.
wanted, because it's a playtest, they want to keep it as simple and easy to make characters as possible. They wanted to limit the things in the equipment tag to things you actually were going to buy at level 1.
And they also state in the character creation that they only allow you to gain things from that tab, which means they knew that they put other stuff that you wanted or needed in another tab, but they only put the essentials that you must or need in the equipment section.
I guess that's fair. No point putting in Mithril and Darkwood if you can't fucking afford it.
Yeah, you can't afford it, you
Exactly.
can't get to it, you know, it's just not happening.
I still found it a little complicated to maneuver through the book, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the book
Yeah.
felt a little clunky until I started to get used to it, and then after that, it was just, what section am I going to?
Maybe because
Although-
you had more time with it.
Speaking of that, silver becoming the currency instead of gold. Meaning
Oh, love it.
Easier
Oh,
conversion,
yeah,
like
that-
money.
Well, I don't think
Becomes
it's a
easy.
difference in conversion at all.
No,
I
it's
It's not a
not
different
change.
conversion. It's the same conversion. It's
If
just
they've made the
silver's
entire
become more
world
common,
cheaper.
Yeah, run on silver. And I think that was a fantastic
That
decision.
was a beautiful idea.
Mainly
I'd like copy
because
it.
people wanted it, and we're mostly, or at least in my experience, too lazy to go through the effort of converting everything down from gold to silver.
Yeah.
Or go from the 1 to 10 to the 1 to 100.
Yeah, so like, well, the 100 base system always has way too much trouble with it. Doing it a base 10 system, but dropping the standard currency to silver
instead of being the middle
makes
currency.
You feel, first off, that gold is worth more.
Exactly.
Makes you feel more distinguished when you have it, and it makes the whole world seem like it would actually work, because I don't know what Galarian was running on, like where these gold mines were, that Adventures could just drop thousands of gold coins on.
Yeah, I mean, cause seriously, some of the things in the
probably
previous...
anybody that has like 10 platinum on it look like near gods.
Well, yeah, again, because platinum didn't feel special at all.
No, it didn't, because
It
gold
did.
was the
Standard. Was the main currency, so it's 10 gold,
Well,
it's like a
it's
$10
Yeah, it was
coin.
a $10 bill for you.
That's just kind of an issue with platinum, though. Gold is like gold, and platinum's just like, oh, this is, what is this, silver?
Well,
it's better silver.
I think that now it feels more like a $100 bill.
Yeah, now it...
And I think that's an important distinction.
Mm-hmm.
It makes platinum feel more special.
It makes platinum feel more special. It
Because
makes
gold feels more special.
more special because when you're running on a silver
and add it
common...
to my new setting.
Yeah, because when you're running a silver as a common, it makes copper, which is your low ball, feel appropriate. It
Which
feels
realistically, that's what NPCs get paid in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. A lot of the food and way of life and
All
all
went
that
down.
stuff, well, was already running on,
Yeah, it was
on
running
the
on
assumption that you were using copper and silver.
Yeah.
So it was ridiculous.
A stay and a meal was how many copper?
It was like 5 copper to a silver.
Yeah.
And so it was like ridiculous that I have thousands of gold pieces
And I'm paying coppers and silvers to
yeah,
live.
so
Now,
I think it made sense that they brought the currency down to what their world
was
already running on.
Yeah. And it also made it so that way when you're paying somebody the 2 gold to do the task, you feel that.
Yeah.
When
you're 10 gold is a lot of money now.
Yeah. Now you're like, oh god, that was gold.
Or yeah, like a freaking 100 gold job actually sounds like, oh, that's premium.
That's a lot of
primo.
money.
Yeah. Versus that was a 100 gold job. Seriously, that's all you're paying me in the old system? That's what it felt like.
That is what it felt like.
Even in
because you
like,
couldn't
any
even
other
get a
RPG,
pair of
still it
full
feels-
pack
Heck,
for
you-
You felt like that if they just stopped at like 1,500 gold.
Yeah.
Well, that might just be a problem with scaling mid to high level, but that's another thing entirely.
We'll figure that out when we get there.
All right, guys, final thoughts.
Overall, I'm going to say I'm enjoying it enough that I'm happy with my investment in getting the collector's edition. I'm happy with the playtest in and of itself so far. I mean, the characters, I knew you guys already, so I kind of knew what I was getting into, but then your guys' characters, the way the game made your characters have to be, it made it really good to be the DM. It did not feel like I had to make this stupid tedious story and I gotta pull you all in and rein you all in. Instead, it was like, okay, the story kind of did this little number. You guys even went against the grain of the story, did some crazy shit, and it still felt good for the DM. Going, oh man, how is this going to happen now? What's going to happen here? You know?
I definitely had that experience in some other paizo modules where I'm like, well, okay, they just went and did.
They did go to the house.
Well, yeah, what do I do now?
It's like, that's why I was like, dude, it was great. And honestly, when I get to play this as the player, I'm really looking forward to the going in as a blind guy at it. I mean, not literally a blind guy, but just going
I do have eyes.
going in with it. Just
honestly,
like,
I enjoyed.
Congratulations, you've been given the
Honestly, I
blind guy
enjoyed it
template.
from beginning to end. And I think that's more than just talking about the present company. In fact, this section actually made me excited for when 2E does come out. I might try DMing 2E.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it
Whereas
felt.
before, I only was interested in maybe doing 5E and some original Pathfinder.
All right, D4, what'd you think?
I actually had a lot of fun with it. I mean, I'm very eager to see where this character goes in the playtest, and if it's really good in the playtest, I'm looking forward to them releasing a way to convert our playtest characters over to the regular 2E.
I don't think
That's not even
I don't
going to
think
be
they're
hard.
gonna do.
That's not even gonna be
I don't
hard,
think they're
but-
going to do that major changes.
There
I
might
mean,
be some
Even
good
if
ones.
there is, I don't think it would be that big
Yeah,
of a
because
conversion.
Yeah, it's just
Aside
like, okay, I
from-
get this and
I
this
mean,
and
you
this
could
out.
run from 2E to 5E, and there wouldn't be that big of a conversion.
Oh, I
Yeah.
will say this, one complaint about the rogue. The class feat of me being able to detect traps, I felt like that should have been built in.
I can honestly say
Well,
that
what did
when
you take instead?
You're next.
that
Once
you
I
forgot
kill.
to use.
Well, I never got an opportunity to use it, really.
True.
It's just like, basically, I kill somebody, I get a +2 to intimidate that guy, and he's, I believe his morale goes down to inferior or something. I need to double check.
Well, it
Actually,
kind
let
of
me
sounds
double
like
check
you
right
took the wrong feat.
Honestly, the your next one is really great when you're able to get in there and kill one,
Well, it
scare
doesn't even-
another. Weaken
In
it
my
for everyone
experience,
else.
the morale stuff has never been as useful as just killing them.
Yeah.
Well, this is a new system, so I thought I'd try it out.
Yeah,
that's-
the fact that the trap finding wasn't a thing was or not necessarily wasn't a thing, but you had to select it made me kind of go whoa. But then again,
I think it makes sense. 'cause
Druid
they're-
got broke down into 3,
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
and
personally.
each of the 3 parts that are now Druid used to all 3 be part of the main Druid. So, but, we don't want to go over the exact ruling.
Yeah, I know. It's just like +2 circumstance posts.
What was your big thing
To
about it?
demoralize.
What do you mean?
Like, what's your final take?
Oh, my final take. I came here expecting to be disappointed, and I don't feel disappointed. I still feel confused, especially with their choice on the character sheet. I feel, I guess I'm confused because I don't understand the changes they've made, but I haven't gotten to play the major changes that I'm worried about, because it's all my worries are for advancing and how the character will feel once he's advanced. And so I will say I'm much more pleasantly surprised than I thought I would be, and I'm happy to continue this and see where it ends up being, because I do want to see if I'm still disappointed once he's advanced and gotten into more of the groove of what the class can do.
I'll agree with that. And your thoughts,
Well, I'll say that my worst fears are, if not completely alleviated, at least mitigated. I'm still eager to see. I'm eager to have an army of skeletons again. I wanna at least know that's an option.
It will
God.
Okay, so
when it officially launches, I
It will
guarantee
be,
you
yeah.
that necromancy will be back to its former
right.
glory. However,
So,
at this current state, necromancy is nowhere near.
I did not get a chance to really explore what you can do in terms of actual damage dealing spells.
Oh, that's the thing that I don't like
At the
about
moment,
Fire.
the dice are not looking impressive. I find it interesting that they went with big die and not a lot of modifiers to them, so you have a spread of the amount of damage
I
you can
really
do.
don't like that.
Where you-
I didn't like it in 5th edition, and I don't like it here.
Although, the one thing that actually really did make me happy was if you went out and bought a dice set specifically to play, Pathfinder RPG or anything like that, the likelihood of you using half the dice in that set in the first edition was negligible.
Yeah.
You were using
Well,
D20,
in this
D6,
one,
maybe D10.
They
Now,
definitely, with the greatsword being a D12 instead of 2D6,
yeah.
and with all the spells, some of which using the D12,
And the
they
D10.
certainly have tried to make all of the dice used.
Oh, yeah.
I will say there is some confusing things in the weapons. I thought the bastard sword being a piercing weapon was just kind of a strange choice.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's not a slashing weapon.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's just a piercing weapon. Apparently,
Did
you
they
can
forget-
only poke with it. You can two-hand it, but you still only poke.
Did they confuse the bastard sword for a Flatberg?
No, even then you still wouldn't. Flamers are slashing.
Yeah, Flanders are slash
yeah.
only.
S-Talk probably.
S-Talk or
S-Talk, my
rapiers
bad.
or...
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm confused by some of their choices. I think the D12 disappoints me because I like having 2D6. I like rolling more dice.
I'm just glad that
But I'm happy to see it in use.
with the changes I have noticed, it doesn't feel like they changed them just for the sake of being different.
Yeah, they definitely made each change methodical, whether we like it or not. And honestly, for the most part, I'm pleasantly surprised, and I was enthusiastic from the moment I started reading about the small changes they were trying to implement. So when it all came together and it turned into what it did, I'm happy enough that second edition is probably going in my collection of
I'm willing
systems.
to try it more. I think there's certainly been some games like Age of the Empire where I've played one session and been like, I think I'm done.
Yeah, no, that was me with. Actually, I wasn't like I'm
I was
done,
iffy
but I
about
was
that
definitely
system. I
looking
still
at it
haven't
going.
played it.
Yeah, so like I'm certainly more interested in playing it than I have been in other games I've tried.
All right.
All right, well, I think that just about wraps things up. Thank you for watching D6 Damage and hearing our thoughts on our first experience of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Later.